The crystal spires of Cathara Prime caught the morning light like frozen rainbows. Yun-Ho stood at the window of the High Council chamber, watching the sun rise over his world. But something was wrong with that sun. It flickered, just for a moment but long enough to send ice through his veins. "The readings are confirmed," he said to the council members behind him. His voice stayed calm, but his hands shook as he held the data pad. "Our sun is dying. Not in millions of years as we expected. In months." The silence that followed felt heavy as stone. The 12 council members sat perfectly still, their crystal bodies catching and reflecting the chamber's soft light. The Villani had always been a peaceful people. They solved problems with math and art, not war or panic. But this problem had no peaceful solution. Elder Dong-Sik was the first to speak. His voice came out like wind through crystal chimes. "How is this possible? Our scientists predicted stable solar activity for another 3 million years. Yun-Ho turned from the window. "Something is wrong inside the sun's core. The fusion process is becoming unstable. We estimate 6 months before total collapse." Speaker Hei-Wan rose from her seat. As the voice of their people to the galaxy, she had dealt with many crises, but nothing like this. "We must contact the Galactic Council immediately. Surely the great civilizations will help us." "Will they?" Elder Dong-Sik asked quietly. "What do we offer them? We have no armies, no rare minerals, no strategic value. We are mathematicians and artists on a world that will soon be dead rock." The council fell silent again. Everyone knew the elder spoke truth. The Villani had lived in peace for thousands of years. They had given the galaxy beautiful art and helped solve complex mathematical problems. But they had never been important enough to matter in galactic politics. "We must try," Hei-Wan said firmly. "We cannot simply wait to die." The next week passed in frantic activity. Hei-Wan sent messages to every major power in the galaxy. The Zorathi Empire, who conquered worlds with their massive fleets. The Nexus Collective, who built technology beyond imagination. The Ethereal Consortium, who had mastered time and space itself. The responses came quickly. Too quickly. The Zorathi were direct. "The Empire regrets your situation. We cannot spare resources for evacuation efforts. The Villani offer no strategic advantage to justify intervention." The Nexus Collective was more polite, but equally cold. "Our analysis indicates relocation of your population would require resources better allocated to current projects. We wish you peaceful endings." The Ethereal Consortium did not even reply. Smaller civilizations sent sympathy, but nothing more. Some offered to take small groups of Villani refugees, but there were billions. On Cathara Prime, the offers would save thousands at most. Yun-Ho watched the sun each morning. The flickering grew worse. Sometimes it dimmed for whole minutes. Their best scientists worked desperately to understand what was happening, but they were running out of time to find answers. "We have contacted every known civilization," Hei-Wan reported to the council 2 weeks later. "The galaxy will not help us." "Then we die with dignity," said council member Ji-Hoon. "We have lived good lives. We have created beauty. Perhaps that is enough." "No." Elder Dong-Sik stood slowly. He was the oldest Villani alive, his crystal body clouded with age. "It is not enough. We have not tried everything." "What do you mean?" Yun-Ho asked. "We have contacted the known galaxy. But what about the unknown? What about the worlds beyond our maps, the civilizations we have never met?" Hei-Wan shook her head. "Elder, we would be broadcasting blindly into space. Even if someone received our messages, they would be too far away to help in time. Perhaps, Dong-sik said, but doing nothing is certain death. Trying gives us hope, even if that hope is small. The council debated for hours. Some called it pointless. Others said it was waste of precious time and energy. But in the end, they voted to try. What did they have to lose? Yoon-ho helped design the broadcast. They would send it on every frequency they knew. They would include their mathematical discoveries, their art, their music. If these were to be the last words of the Volani people, they would make them beautiful. The message went out across the galaxy and beyond. It spoke of a dying world and a peaceful people facing the end. It asked for help, for ships, for new homes among the stars. It offered knowledge and friendship in return. Most importantly, it included something no other galactic civilization had ever seen. The Volani had discovered mathematical principles that described the very foundation of space and time. They had never shared this knowledge, considering it too dangerous. But now, facing extinction, they included it in their desperate plea. Days passed. The sun grew more unstable. Cities began to darken as the solar collectors failed to gather enough energy. Plants started dying in the great crystal gardens. The beautiful spires of Cathara Prime began to dim. Then, 3 weeks after sending their final broadcast, something impossible happened. Yoon-ho was in his laboratory when the communication system activated. A new signal was coming in, not from any known part of the galaxy, but from a small system on the outer rim. A system containing a blue world that most civilizations barely knew existed. The signal was crude compared to Galactic standard communications. It used primitive technology and simple mathematics, but the message was clear. We hear you, we understand, we are coming. Yoon-ho stared at the translation for long minutes. Then he ran to find Hai-won. Who sent this? She asked when he showed her the message. According to our records, the signal comes from a world called Earth. The inhabitants call themselves humans. They have no faster-than-light travel. They have never been contacted by galactic civilizations. By all accounts, they should not even be able to receive our broadcast, much less understand it. Yet they did both, Hai-won said quietly. Yes, and more than that. Yoon-ho's hands shook as he pulled up more data. Look at their response signal. They used mathematical principles that only we know, principles we included in our broadcast. They understood our most advanced science and used it to reach us. The implications were staggering. These humans had taken Volani mathematics and immediately put it to use. They had built new technology in weeks that took the Volani centuries to develop. How long would it take them to reach us? Hai-won asked. Yoon-ho did quick calculations. Even if they achieved faster-than-light travel immediately, at least 2 years, maybe more. They looked at each other. The sun would be gone in 6 months. Then we prepare to die, Hai-won said sadly. No, Yoon-ho replied. We prepare to hope. Against all odds, someone heard our call. Someone cared enough to try. Perhaps that is miracle enough. Outside the laboratory window, the sun flickered again. But for the first time in weeks, Yoon-ho did not feel despair when he saw it. Somewhere among the stars, impossible help was coming. The question was whether it would arrive in time. Dr. Jin-woo Park rubbed his tired eyes and stared at the computer screen again. The signal had been coming in for 3 days now, and he still could not believe what he was seeing. The radio telescope array in Puerto Rico was picking up something. That should not exist. Are you still here? Dr. Yoon-ji Choi poked her head into his office. Jin-Woo, you need to sleep. Look at this, he said, pointing at the screen. This is not random space noise. This is mathematics. Complex mathematics. And it is coming from somewhere outside our galaxy. Yoonji sat down beside him. As a theoretical physicist, she understood numbers better than most people. Her eyes widened as she looked at the data. This is impossible, she whispered. These equations describe space-time relationships we have only theorized about. How could anyone broadcast this? Jin-Woo had been asking himself the same question. The signal was clearly artificial. It had patterns, structure, meaning, but the source was too far away for any technology humans understood. There is more, he said, typing commands. The signal includes what looks like a message, not just mathematics, communication. It had taken him 2 days to decode it. The message was sent using mathematical constants as a base language. Whoever sent it assumed the receivers would understand basic physics and mathematics. It was clever. Mathematics was universal. The message was simple and heartbreaking. A dying world, a peaceful people, a sun going dark, a plea for help sent. To anyone who might be listening. My God, Yoonji said when he finished explaining. An entire civilization is asking for help, and we are the only ones who heard them. Maybe not the only ones, Jin-Woo said, but maybe the only ones who answered. That had been his decision. While he worked to decode the full message, he had sent a reply, a simple response using the same mathematical base language. We hear you. We understand. We are coming. It was not exactly true. Humans had no way to travel to other stars. But Jin-Woo could not let this message go unanswered. Somewhere in space, people were dying. The least he could do was let them know someone cared. Jin-Woo, Yoonji said slowly. How did you send a reply? We do not have technology for interstellar communication. He showed her the modifications he had made to the radio array. Using principles from the alien mathematics, he had boosted the signal strength and focused it into a tight beam. It should not have worked. The physics were barely understood. But somehow it did. You built a faster-than-light communicator, Yoonji said in amazement, using alien mathematics. I think so. I am not sure how it works. But the signal strength indicators suggest it reached them. Within hours, word of Jin-Woo's discovery spread through the scientific community, then to the military, then to world governments. The reaction was exactly what he expected. Disbelief, followed by excitement, followed by fear. Captain So Young, Kim arrived at the observatory the next morning with a team of military scientists. She was young for her rank, known for her work on experimental space technologies. Dr. Park, she said after reviewing his data, you understand what this means? This proves intelligent life exists beyond Earth, advanced life, and they need our help. Yes, Captain, but we cannot help them. We have no ships that can travel between stars. Maybe we do not have them yet, So Young said, but we have their mathematics now. If you could build a communicator using their equations, maybe we can build a ship. The idea seemed crazy. Humans had barely reached their own moon on a regular basis. Mars missions were still being planned. The idea of traveling to another star system was pure science fiction. But the mathematics in the alien message were real. They described principles of space and time that human science was only beginning to understand. If these equations were correct, faster-than-light travel might be possible. I need to make some calls, So Young said. Within a week, Scientists from around the world gathered at a secure facility in Nevada. The project was classified top secret. Officially, it did not exist. Unofficially, it was humanity's most important undertaking. Dr. Taemin Lee, a retired admiral, was brought in to oversee the military aspects. He was skeptical from the beginning. "Captain Kim," he said during the first planning meeting, "you are asking me to approve a mission to another star system. We do not have the technology. We do not have the ships. We do not even know if these aliens are friendly." "Sir," So-Young replied, "we have their mathematics. Dr. Choi's team has been studying the equations. They describe how to manipulate space-time itself. We could build faster-than-light drives." "In how much time?" Yoonji cleared her throat. "Based on our analysis, we could have prototype drives ready in 6 months, maybe 4 if we focus all our resources." Taemin shook his head. "And how long to reach these aliens?" 2 years minimum, Jinwoo said. "Their signal came from roughly 30 light-years away. Even with FTL drives, it would be a long journey. So we spend 6 months building ships, then travel for 2 years to help aliens who might be dead before we arrive." The room fell silent. The math was harsh, but clear. The aliens said they had months before their sun died. Any help from Earth would arrive far too late. "Then why try?" Taemin asked. So-Young stood up. "Because they asked for help, sir. Because someone heard them cry out in the darkness and answered. Because doing the right thing does not depend on whether we succeed." She paused, looking around the room at the assembled scientists and military officers. "Every major space agency has wanted to build faster-than-light drives for decades. Now we have the mathematics to do it. These aliens have given us the key to the stars. The least we can do is try to save them." Taemin considered this. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. Project Lighthouse is approved. Captain Kim, you will oversee construction. Dr. Choi, you will lead the drive development team. Dr. Park, keep monitoring communications. If these aliens send more information, we need to know immediately." The next months passed in frantic activity. Shipyards around the world began construction on humanity's first interstellar vessels. They were not large or beautiful. They were built for one purpose: to reach another star system as quickly as possible. The drives themselves were marvels of engineering. Using the alien mathematics, human scientists learned to fold space-time, creating bubbles that could move faster than light. The physics were barely understood, but they worked. Jinwoo continued monitoring communications from space. More messages came from the alien world, each one more desperate than the last. Their sun was failing faster than predicted. Cities were going dark. People were dying. But there was something else in the messages. Wonder. These aliens, who called themselves Villani, could not understand how humans had learned their mathematics so quickly. They sent more complex equations, expecting confusion. Instead, human scientists solved them and sent back improvements. "They think we are geniuses," Yoonji told Jinwoo one evening. "They do not understand that we are just stubborn." "Maybe that is what genius is," Jinwoo replied. "Not giving up when something seems impossible." 6 months after receiving the first alien message, the first human interstellar fleet launched from Earth orbit. 12 ships carrying humanity's best and brightest. Their mission was simple: reach the Villani homeworld and save whoever they could. The odds of success were terrible. The journey was longer than any human had ever attempted. The aliens might be dead before the fleet arrived. The ships might fail. In the emptiness between stars, But Captain So Young Kim, now Admiral of the fleet, had one thing no computer could calculate. She had hope. And sometimes hope was enough to change the impossible into the inevitable. As the fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Jinwoo sent one final message to the Vellani homeworld. Help is coming. Do not give up. In the depths of space, 12 human ships raced toward a dying star carrying the hopes of two worlds. Admiral Jae-hyun Kang floated in the command center of the UES Harmony, watching stars streak past the view screen like silver tears. 3 months into their journey to the Vellani homeworld, and the human fleet was making good time. Better than expected, actually. Sir, Engineer Kyung-soo Nam called from his station. I have the efficiency reports. We are running 15% faster than our original calculations. Jae-hyun smiled. The Vellani mathematics keep surprising us. Any word from the other ships? All 11 vessels report green status. Dr. Lee wants to speak with you about the latest Vellani transmissions. Dr. Soo-jin Lee was the fleet's xenobiologist and first contact specialist. She had spent months studying every Vellani message, trying to understand their culture before humans arrived. Her work might mean the difference between successful first contact and disaster. Admiral, she said as she entered the command center, we received another transmission from Cathara Prime. The situation is getting worse. Jae-hyun reviewed the message on his personal screen. The Vellani sun was failing faster than anyone predicted. What had been months of remaining time was now weeks, maybe less. Can we go faster? He asked Kyung-soo. The engineer shook his head. We are already pushing the drives beyond safe limits. Any more stress and we risk catastrophic failure. How long until we reach them? 21 months at current speed. The math was cruel. Even if they arrived exactly on schedule, they would find a dead system orbiting a collapsed star. But Jae-hyun had not brought humanity's best people this far just to give up. Keep monitoring the drives, he told Kyung-soo. If you find any way to improve our speed, even by a few percent, I want to know. Yes, sir. A week later, their journey was interrupted. Long-range sensors detected 3 ships approaching fast. The vessels were large, heavily armed, and definitely not human. Red alert, Jae-hyun ordered. All ships prepare for possible contact. The alien vessels stopped just outside weapons range. A communication signal came through, translated by the computer systems. Unknown ships, you are entering Zorathi Empire patrol space. Identify yourselves immediately. Commander Hyunwoo Park, the fleet's military strategist, moved to Jae-hyun's side. The Zorathi, one of the major galactic powers. They refused to help the Vellani. Jae-hyun activated the communication system. This is Admiral Jae-hyun Kang of the United Earth Fleet. We are traveling to the Cathara system on a humanitarian mission. The response came quickly, with what sounded like surprise. Did you say Earth? The primitive world on the outer rim? How do you possess faster-than-light technology? We developed it recently. We have permission to pass through this region. Negative. No passage permits have been issued to Earth vessels. Your species does not possess interstellar travel capability. Hyunwoo whispered to Jae-hyun. They do not know we can do this. They think we are still stuck on our home planet. The Admiral considered his options. Fighting was not possible. The Zorathi ships were much larger and better armed. But maybe that was not necessary. Zorathi Commander, he said, we are on a mission of mercy. The Vellani people need help. Their son is dying. The Vellani situation has been evaluated. No intervention is warranted. By you maybe, but we choose differently. There was a long pause. Then the Zorathi commander spoke again, and his tone had changed. You traveled 30 light years to help a species you have never met? A species that offers you nothing in return? Yes. Another pause. This is unusual. Most species act only for profit or strategic advantage. Most species are not human. The Zorathi ships moved aside, allowing the human fleet to pass, but Jae-hyun could feel their sensors tracking his ships as they continued toward Volani space. 2 months later, they encountered another patrol. This time it was the Nexus Collective, masters of advanced technology. The meeting went similarly. Initial suspicion, followed by confusion about human capabilities, then amazement at their mission. Your technology is primitive by our standards, the Nexus commander observed, yet you achieved faster-than-light travel in months, not centuries. How? Dr. Soo-jin answered this time. We had good teachers. The Volani shared their mathematics with anyone willing to listen. The Volani equations are extremely advanced. It should take decades to understand them. We did not have decades. People were dying. The Nexus ships also let them pass, but Jae-hyun noticed they followed at long range for several days. Word was spreading through the galaxy. The mysterious humans had somehow developed FTL technology and were rushing to help the Volani. Kyung-soo worked constantly to improve their drive efficiency. Using Volani mathematical principles, he found ways to reduce power consumption and increase speed. Small improvements, but they added up. The fleet's estimated arrival time dropped from 21 months to 19, then 18. It is not enough, Soo-jin said during one of their regular briefings. The latest Volani transmissions indicate they have maybe 6 months left. We need to travel twice as fast. The drives cannot handle more stress, Kyung-soo reported. We are already operating beyond design limits. Then we need to think differently, Jae-hyun said. What if we do not just travel faster? What if we travel smarter? He had been studying the Volani mathematics himself, trying to understand the principles behind their technology. There was something in their equations about space-time manipulation that went beyond simple FTL travel. The Volani do not just fold space, he explained to his senior staff. They can compress it, create shorter paths between distant points. Like a shortcut through higher dimensions? Soo-jin asked. Exactly. But it requires precise calculations and perfect timing. Kyung-soo studied the equations. This is incredibly dangerous. One mistake and we could lose the entire fleet. What is our current arrival time? 17 months if nothing goes wrong. And the Volani have how long? Best case 4 months. Jae-hyun made his decision. We try the shortcut. Send the calculations to all ships. We attempt dimensional compression in 6 hours. The next few hours were the longest of Jae-hyun's life. Every ship in the fleet had to modify their drives using Volani mathematics that even the Volani considered experimental. One error would mean death for everyone. Aboard, all ships report ready, Hyun-woo announced. Initiate compression on my mark, Jae-hyun ordered. 3, 2, 1, mark. Space twisted around the human fleet. Stars disappeared, replaced by swirling colors that had no names. The ships shook as reality bent around them, for a terrifying moment. It felt like the universe was coming apart. Then, suddenly, they were through. Normal space returned. Stars appeared again, but they were different stars, closer to their destination. Position report, Jae-hyun called out. Kyung-soo worked frantically at his controls. We did it, sir. We jumped 12 light years in 30 seconds. New arrival time at Cathara Prime, 3 months. The command center erupted in cheers. They had shaved 14 months off their journey time. They might actually reach the Vallani in time to help. But their celebration was interrupted by another transmission from Cathara Prime. This one was different, weaker, more desperate. Sujin translated quickly, her face growing pale. Admiral, the situation has changed. The Vallani have discovered what is killing their sun. It is not natural stellar collapse. Something is buried inside the star itself, an ancient weapon left by a dead civilization. It is designed to destroy solar systems. Jae-hyun felt ice in his stomach. Can it be stopped? The Vallani do not know. Their mathematics suggest it might be possible, but the weapon is buried deep in the star's core. Someone would have to go inside the star itself to destroy it. Inside a star? Hyun-woo said. That is impossible. Nothing can survive those temperatures and pressures. Almost nothing, Kyung-soo said quietly. But human ships are built differently than most. We designed them for survival, not comfort. With the right modifications... You are talking about a suicide mission, Soo-jin pointed out. Maybe, Jae-hyun said. But maybe not. We have 3 months to figure it out, and we have the best people in human space working on the problem. He activated the fleet communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Kang. We have new information about our mission. What we face is more dangerous than we expected. But it is also more important. This weapon could destroy other star systems if we do not stop it here. He paused, looking at the faces of his crew. They were afraid, but determined. Human faces showing human courage. We came to save one world. Now we might save many. I will not lie to you. This mission just became much more dangerous. Anyone who wants to turn back can do so now, with honor. The communication channels stayed silent. Not one ship turned around. Then we continue, Jae-hyun said. Cathara Prime, this is the human fleet. We are coming. Hold on just a little longer. In the depths of space, 12 human ships raced toward a dying star, carrying hope for 2 civilizations and perhaps many more. The Cathara system was dying when the human fleet arrived. Admiral Jae-hyun Kang stood on the bridge of the UES Harmony, watching the Vallani sun flicker like a candle in the wind. Dark spots covered its surface, and massive solar flares erupted, unpredictably. It was not the steady, life-giving star it had been for millions of years. My God, whispered Dr. Soo-jin Lee. It is worse than the transmission suggested. Cathara Prime hung in space like a darkened jewel. Once, the crystal cities had gleamed with reflected sunlight. Now they were dim and growing darker by the hour. Millions of Vallani were down there, watching their world die. Admiral, Communications Officer Dae-un Shin reported, we are receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. The message came through in the mathematical language humans, and Vallani now shared. When translated, it was simple and heartbreaking. Welcome, humans. You came as you promised. We did not think we would live to see you. Dr. Min-ho Choi, the fleet's astrophysicist, was already studying the dying star with every sensor they had. The weapon is definitely there, he reported. Deep in the core, maybe 6,000 kilometers down. It is sending out resonance waves that are disrupting the fusion process. Can we destroy it? Jae-hyun asked. Maybe. But someone would have to carry a precisely tuned nuclear device right to the weapon's location. The resonance frequency has to be perfect, or the device will not work. How close to the weapon? within 50 meters. Any farther and the star's magnetic field will interfere with the signal. Pilot Dayan Shin, who had joined the conversation, shook her head. Sir, no ship can survive inside a star. The temperatures reach millions of degrees. The pressure would crush any hull we have. What about the fighters? Asked Specialist Wanbin Jung. He was the fleet's demolitions expert, and he had been studying the problem since they learned about the weapon. The atmospheric fighters were designed for planetary assault. They are small, fast, and heavily shielded. Not for stellar cores, Da-un protested. The shielding would last maybe 30 seconds in those conditions. 30 seconds is better than nothing, Wanbin said calmly. How long to reach the weapon from the star's surface? Minho ran calculations. At maximum fighter speed, diving straight down. About 45 seconds. So we need to survive 15 seconds longer than the ship was designed for. Wanbin, Jae-hyun said carefully. You are talking about a suicide mission. Maybe, sir, but maybe not. I have been working with Engineer Nam on modifications. We can strip everything non-essential from a fighter, replace the weapons with extra shielding, boost the power core for maximum speed. It might work. Kyung-soo Nam nodded. We can also install the largest nuclear device we have. If Wanbin can get close enough to the weapon, the explosion should disrupt its resonance field. And if it does not work, then we try something else, Jae-hyun said firmly. But this is our best option. While the engineers worked on modifying a fighter, Jae-hyun opened communications with the Volani planet. He wanted to speak directly with their leaders before attempting the mission. The face that appeared on screen was crystalline and beautiful, but marked with exhaustion. I am Speaker Hae-won, the Volani said. On behalf of my people, I thank you for coming so far to help us. We are not finished yet, Jae-hyun replied. We think we can destroy the weapon in your sun. But we need your help with the calculations. He explained the plan. Hae-won listened carefully, then consulted with other Volani off-screen. When she returned, her expression was troubled. Admiral, your mathematics are correct. This plan could work, but the person who pilots that ship will not survive. We know. One of our people has volunteered. Why? Hae-won asked softly. Why? Would one of your people die for strangers? Jae-hyun thought about the question. Because it is the right thing to do. Because we came here to save lives, not to count the cost. Your species is very strange, Hae-won said. Most civilizations in the galaxy act only for their own benefit. Then most civilizations are missing something important. The modifications to the fighter took 18 hours. Wanbin worked alongside the engineers, making sure he understood every system. This was his ship now, and he needed to know it perfectly. The extra shielding will give you maybe 60 seconds total, Kyung-soo explained. The nuclear device is programmed to detonate automatically when you reach the target depth. You will not need to trigger it manually. Good, Wanbin said. Less things to worry about. Da-un had volunteered to pilot the mission, but Wanbin refused. You are the best pilot we have, he told her. The fleet needs you alive. I am the demolitions expert. This is my job. The night before the mission, Wanbin sat in the fighter's cockpit, running through the flight plan one more time. The path was simple. Dive straight into the star, following the resonance waves to their source. Deploy the nuclear device at exactly the right moment. Hope the explosion worked. He was not afraid of dying. Every human in the fleet had accepted that risk when they volunteered for this mission. But he was afraid of failing. If this plan did not work, there might not be time for another attempt. "You ready for this?" Jae-hyun asked, appearing beside the fighter. "As ready as anyone can be for flying into a star," Wonbin replied. "If this works, will it save the Vellani?" Min-ho thinks so. Destroying the weapon should stop the resonance waves. The star will stabilize, but it will take time. Years, maybe decades to fully recover. And if it does not work, then we figure out plan B. Wonbin smiled. "I like your confidence, Admiral." "I like your courage, Specialist." Launch time came at dawn, Cathara prime time. The human fleet moved to a safe distance while Wonbin's modified fighter approached the dying star. His ship looked tiny against the massive solar disk, like a grain of sand next to a burning mountain. "All systems green," Wonbin reported over the radio. "Beginning descent." The fighter disappeared into the star's corona, immediately surrounded by plasma hot enough to vaporize most matter instantly. The ship's shields flared to life, deflecting the worst of the heat and radiation. "Temperature rising," Wonbin reported, his voice calm despite flying through hell itself. 15 million degrees and climbing. Hull temperature approaching critical. On the fleet command ship, everyone watched the sensor readings. They could not see Wonbin anymore, but they could track his ship's beacon as it dove deeper into the star. 30 seconds to target. Wonbin's voice crackled through the radio. "Shield strength at 60%. The ship was designed to last 60 seconds in these conditions. It had already been inside the star for 35 seconds. 40 seconds. Shield strength at 30%. I can see the weapon. It is beautiful and terrible." Jae-hyun gripped his chair. The plan called for Wonbin to reach the weapon at exactly 45 seconds. 5 more seconds, and the nuclear device would deploy automatically. 45 seconds. "Device deploying. Tell my family I—" The radio went silent. Deep inside the star, a precisely tuned nuclear explosion disrupted an ancient weapon that had slept in stellar cores for millions of years. The resonance waves stopped instantly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the star began to stabilize. The dark spots on its surface faded. The wild flares calmed. The flickering stopped. "It worked," Min-ho said in amazement. "The resonance field is gone. The star is stabilizing." But the victory felt hollow. Wonbin Jung had given his life to save a world he had never seen, for people he had never met. His sacrifice had worked, but the cost was real and final. "Admiral," Haiwan's voice came over the communication system. "Our instruments confirm the star is stabilizing. You did it. You saved us." "Specialist Jung saved you," Jae-hyun corrected. "We just got him where he needed to go." "We will remember his name for as long as our civilization exists," Haiwan promised. "But Admiral, there is a problem. Our analysis shows the star is stable now, but damaged. It will take decades to fully recover. In the meantime, it will not produce enough energy to sustain our civilization." Jae-hyun understood immediately. They had saved the Vellani from extinction, but not from disaster. The people of Cathara Prime would still face years of cold and darkness, while their sun healed. "How can we help?" he asked. "We do not know. The energy requirements are enormous. We need something that can supplement our sun's output for decades." Engineer Kyung-soo suddenly looked up from his station. "Admiral, what if we do not supplement the sun? What if we supplement the planet?" "What do you mean?" "Our FTL drives. They generate enormous amounts of energy. If we could modify them to work as power generators instead of engines." The idea was crazy. It would mean stranding the human fleet in the Cathara system, possibly forever. Their FTL drives would be destroyed in the process of converting them to power generators. But it might work. 12 human FTL drives working together could provide enough energy to keep Volani civilization alive while their star recovered. Jae-hyun looked around the command center at his crew. They were far from home. They had lost a good man, and now he was asking them to sacrifice their only way back to Earth. "All ships," he announced over the fleet communication system. "We have an opportunity to completely save the Volani civilization, but it will require sacrificing our FTL drives. We would be stranded here, possibly permanently. 6 months after the human fleet converted their FTL drives into power generators, Cathara Prime was alive again. The crystal cities gleamed with renewed light, powered by human technology and Volani ingenuity working together. Admiral Jae-hyun, Kang stood in the observation deck of what used to be the UES Harmony, watching Volani children play in gardens that had nearly died forever. "The integration is proceeding better than expected," engineer Kyung-soo Nam reported. He had been working with Volani scientists to improve the power grid efficiency. "We are generating 30% more energy than our original calculations predicted." "How is that possible?" Jae-hyun asked. "The Volani understand energy flow in ways we never imagined. They have shown us how to minimize waste and maximize output. Our technology combined with their knowledge is creating something neither species could achieve alone." Dr. Soo-jin Lee joined them at the window. As the first contact specialist, she had spent months learning Volani culture and helping humans adapt to their new home. "The cultural exchange is remarkable, too. The Volani art incorporates human concepts now, and some of our people are learning to create crystal sculptures." "Any word from Earth?" Jae-hyun asked. "Long-range communications are still working. Earth knows we are alive and successful. But? The governments are not happy about losing their first interstellar fleet. There is talk of court-martial when we return." "If we return," Jae-hyun corrected. "We still have no way to travel faster than light." That was the hard truth. The human fleet had saved the Volani, but at the cost of stranding themselves 30 light years from home. They were heroes who might never see Earth again. But something unexpected was happening. Working together, human and Volani scientists were making breakthrough discoveries almost daily. The combination of human innovation and Volani mathematical genius was producing technology that neither species had imagined possible. "Admiral," Captain So-young Kim called from the communication station. "We are receiving a priority transmission from Speaker Hai-wan. She wants to meet with you immediately." Jae-hyun took a shuttle to the planet's surface. In the months since the star's stabilization, he had visited Cathara Prime many times. The Volani had welcomed the humans not as guests, but as family. But this meeting felt different. Hae-won met him at the council chambers. With her was advisor Yoon-ho, who had first detected their son's problems, and Elder Dong-sik, the ancient philosopher who had suggested contacting unknown civilizations. "Admiral," Hae-won said, "we have something to show you." She led him to a secure laboratory deep beneath the Crystal City. Inside, Volani and human scientists worked side by side on what looked like a small spacecraft, but Jae-hyun could see immediately that this was no ordinary ship. "Is that—" "A faster-than-light drive," Yoon-ho confirmed, "but not like the ones your fleet used. This combines human engineering with Volani mathematical principles we have never shared before. It is more efficient, more stable, and much faster than anything previously built. Dr. Minho Choi, who had been working with the Vellani team, appeared beside them. "Admiral, this drive can travel at speeds we thought were impossible. A journey that took your fleet 2 years would take this ship 6 months. We want to build ships for your people," Haewon said. "Not just to return you to Earth, but to give you the stars themselves." Jae-hyun stared at the prototype drive. "Why? You do not owe us anything more. We came here to help you. And in helping us, you gave us something precious," Elder Dong-sik said. "You gave us hope. You showed us that compassion exists in the universe, that beings can care for strangers without expecting reward. The galaxy needs to learn this lesson," Haewon added. "The great civilizations that refuse to help us need to understand that there is another way to live among the stars. You want us to be ambassadors? We want you to be yourselves, to show the galaxy what humanity represents." Over the following weeks, Jae-hyun learned the full scope of what the Vellani were proposing. They would build a new class of ships using hybrid human Vellani technology. These vessels would be faster and more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen. But more importantly, they would carry crews of both species, showing the universe what cooperation could accomplish. The first ship was completed in record time. It was beautiful, combining the elegant curves of Vellani crystal architecture with the sturdy functionality of human engineering. They named it the UES Harmony's Child, in honor of the flagship that had brought the rescue fleet to Cathara Prime. "The drive tests are perfect," Kyung-soo reported after the first trials. "This ship can reach Earth in 4 months. It can reach any known star system in less than a year. Any volunteers for the first mission home?" Jae-hyun asked his senior staff. To his surprise, only half the crew wanted to return to Earth immediately. The others had found new purpose working with the Vellani. Dr. Soo-jin Lee had married a Vellani scientist. Engineer Nam was leading joint research projects. Many humans had discovered that Cathara Prime was becoming home. "We will send 2 ships to Earth," Jae-hyun decided. "One to bring news of our success, and one to bring back volunteers. Earth needs to know what we have learned here." Captain So-young Kim volunteered to lead the mission to Earth. As one of the original advocates for the rescue mission, she wanted to personally report their success. "What should I tell them?" she asked before departure. "Tell them the truth. We came to save one world and found ourselves part of something larger. Tell them that humanity's future lies not in conquering the galaxy, but in befriending it." The journey to Earth took exactly 4 months. So-young's ship, crewed by both humans and Vellani, caused a sensation when it arrived in Earth orbit. The hybrid technology was decades ahead of anything Earth science had achieved. The reunion was joyful but complicated. Earth's governments wanted to know why the fleet had destroyed their FTL drives. Military leaders demanded explanations for the unauthorized mission extensions. Politicians argued about the implications of human-alien cooperation, but the public reaction was overwhelmingly positive. The story of Specialist Won Bin-jung's sacrifice became legendary. The idea that humans had saved an entire civilization captured imaginations worldwide. "They want to build more ships," So-young reported when she returned to Cathara Prime. "Every space agency on Earth wants to join the program, but they also want to control it." "Then we will have to teach them what we learned here," Jae-hyun said. "That some things are more important than control." Word of the Human-Vellani alliance spread throughout the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The same civilizations that had refused to help the Vellani now sent envoys to study the new technology. They came expecting to find conquered territory or exploited resources. Instead, they found genuine partnership. The Zorathi Empire sent Admiral Krektos, a veteran military commander, to assess the situation. He arrived expecting to negotiate with whoever had conquered the Cathara system. Instead, he found himself invited to a joint scientific conference. "This is unprecedented," he reported to his superiors. "The humans and Vellani have achieved technological integration that should take centuries to develop. But more importantly, they have achieved cultural integration. They are not conquerors and conquered. They are partners." The Nexus Collective sent their own observers, equally puzzled by what they found. Dr. Veltar, their chief scientist, spent weeks studying the hybrid technology. "Their methods are crude by our standards," she admitted to the Collective Council. "But their results are extraordinary. They are solving problems through cooperation that we solve through calculation. It is inefficient, but also effective." "Should we be concerned about this alliance?" the Council asked. "No," Veltar replied. "We should be curious. They may have discovered something we missed." The Ethereal Consortium, who had not even replied to the original Vellani plea for help, finally sent an ambassador. The ancient being materialized in the council chambers of Cathara Prime without warning. "You have caused ripples throughout space-time," the Ethereal said to Jae-hyun and Haiwan. "Your actions have changed the probability streams of galactic development." "Is that good or bad?" Jae-hyun asked. "It is interesting. We had calculated that lesser civilizations would eventually destroy themselves through competition and conflict. You have introduced a variable we did not consider: genuine altruism. Will you help us spread this variable?" Haiwan asked. The Ethereal was silent for a long moment. "We will observe. And perhaps, eventually, we will participate." As the second year of the Alliance began, construction started on a new fleet. These ships would carry mixed crews to every corner of the galaxy, not as conquerors or traders, but as helpers. Their mission was simple: find those who needed assistance and provide it, regardless of the cost. The first target was a failing colony in Nexus Collective space. The second was a Zorathi mining world facing ecological collapse. The third was a small independent system plagued by pirates. Each mission was a success. More importantly, each mission convinced another civilization that cooperation was possible. "You know," Haiwan said to Jae-hyun as they watched the latest fleet depart, "when we sent that first desperate message into space, we were only hoping for rescue." "What did you get instead?" Jae-hyun asked. "Revolution. A complete change in how the galaxy thinks about itself.